What's up, America? Neil at Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. So today we're going to talk about the draw. Very specifically, we're going to be talking about a defensive draw. And I know this will be a little bit controversial because it's YouTube and everything's controversial, so it's going to be good times. I want to be very clear that when I talk about this, when I talk about a defensive draw, I'm talking about probably 98% of people that carry guns carry them for defensive purposes, right? I realize that there are competitive shooters out there and you might also compete. I'm not talking about that at all. I want to be very clear on that. And I understand that at the range we work on speed a lot of times, we put the shot timer on, creates, you know, some type of stress, and you'll see the wheels start to come off, and that's all great. That's for the specifics of just training a skill set. I get that. But what I really want to talk about today is how we would draw in a defensive scenario. And I can tell you this, when we talk about a concept, as a law enforcement officer for almost a decade now, I've been in a lot of different encounters. I've seen a lot of criminal activity, and I've never ever been in a scenario where I can say, if that guy could draw faster, he would have won, or he would have been better off. That has never happened. Even if I was walking into myself, if I was coming into a store that was actively being robbed and someone's at gunpoint, I'm not going to try to race to get to my gun. By the way, that person is going to beat you. I don't care how fast you think you are. You're never going to beat a gun that's already drawn. And that's just a simple fact. I know nobody wants to believe that. What we need to do is figure out our surroundings. Where's concealment? Where's cover? Where can I go? Can I create space so that I have an opportunity to get to my gun? That's the real life edition of drawing. But let's talk about how do we get this gun out and in a position where we need to use it. We're going to be doing this with two different guns today. One is going to be obviously outside the waistband here for security, law enforcement, whatever, winter carry. And then I have an inside the waistband carry version. I'll say this now because I just know the internet's going to explode. I have an extended mag. I realize I would not normally carry this gun with a magazine like that. However, it's the only one I had available without defensive rounds in it, so that's what we're going to use. That's not going to be the point. All right, so let's get on to it. First of all, you have to think about people have cell phones and there's cameras. Everybody's recording and watching something, okay? And so we have to understand that if I'm in a confrontation, first of all, my number one goal there is to de-escalate it, so I don't have to go to a use of force scenario where I'm using deadly force, obviously. That said, small things can make a big difference. For example, as soon as I'm in a confrontation with somebody, I'm going to obviously try to de-escalate them. I'm always going to keep my hands where they are right here. Even if I was at the store just talking to somebody, this is just more naturally where my hands would go because they're close and available to defend myself if I have to. But certainly as I start to talk to someone, my hands are going to come up. Now, if we think about a position where it was just, we were straight up, we're in a ring and we're going to fight, right? I mean, that's just the deal. So we're going to have our, whatever type of situation you do with your platform, how you stand, quote unquote stance, your knees bent, whatever, it's cool. And then you're going to bring your hands up to protect yourself, probably make a fist. If I'm talking, if you just rolled up on a scene and you see two people talking, you see me like this and the other person there, even if they're flailing their hands around and yelling and screaming, I look like the aggressor for sure because I'm here in this actual fighting stance. Now, if I take the same exact thing, I don't change anything at all. The only real difference is instead of going from this closed fist fighting stance, I just go, whoa, whoa, I don't want any problem stance. This changes everything. So just from going from here to here makes a big difference. Also, again, the internet will explode, and I realize a lot of people are going to just go nuts on this one. If I were to put a hard object, a skull, a bowling ball, whatever, and I said make a fist and hit it as hard as you can, and I could measure that, and then I'd say open your palm and strike it with your open palm, everybody would strike it harder with their open palm. Maybe outside of 0.01% of professional fighters or whatever. Not the deal. And I know everyone watching this is a professional fighter, I get it. Okay, so I'm going to start with here. So when the draw goes, my hands are going to be up here in this defensive position. I might be moving something, I might be moving, you know, kids around, someone else, whatever, opening doors, doing something, but my hands are here. When my hand goes to draw to get this gun, the one thing that we always teach in our classes is that we always draw, if we're using concealment, which we'll get to, our shooting hand. And I'll get to that here in a second. But as my hand comes to my gun, wherever that's going to be, this hand is coming along for the ride, if it's available. We'll get to that as well. So my hands are here, I go to my gun. Now here's where we go. If I'm trying to go from holster to presentation as fast as possible, a straight line is going to achieve that. But I don't want to do that because it's not about how fast. I'm not going to be in the aisle of sheets standing there with another bad guy and we're sitting here in the Wild West waiting to see who's going to draw faster. That's ridiculous. I get the opportunity to draw my gun, my hand's going to come down. This hand's going to be here. It'll make sense here in a second for two reasons. One, to hold the concealment shirt if I have one, or two, just to be ready to receive it. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the holster with the gun, and I'm going to drop my elbow, not flick my wrist. I'm going to drop my elbow down. Notice that my hand stays on the body, because what will happen a lot of times, I've seen this in class when we do this dry, is students will come up and they'll do this, and they'll muzzle their hand. Super dangerous. So we have to make sure that this hand stays here. Typically, I'll be holding up a shirt, I get my gun, and I drop my elbow. Now, all I'm doing here is I'm just making a placeholder. I'm just touching the gun. It's just a contact. So I can feel on the front of my fingers here, and on the palm side of these fingers, I just feel that contact. So I'm looking at whatever the threat is, I draw the gun up, I drop my elbow, and then my hands make contact right here. I'm not trying to grip the gun really hard. So the reason I don't want to grip the gun really hard is because when I get to this position here, if I start to try to apply my grip, I'm going to ultimately end up like this. I'm going to have this big angle here in my wrist, which I don't want. I want my wrist to be forward like this. So all this is doing is holding it back. It's kind of a loose, just touching it, and just grinds or rolls forward right into where I want to be. Okay? So that's the deal. So looking at it from this side again, my hands are up, I don't want any problems. I'm gonna come down here, I meet my hands. Now I'm gonna stop here. Like, that's literally a hard stop. Okay, this is like a second phase of this. And the reason I'm doing that, for a couple of reasons. One, let's do this real quick. With no slide on the gun, so we can see this. When I draw this up, I'm keeping this to the side of my body, not in the front, to the side. And the reason I'm doing that, a joke I make all the time in class, is it's my ball, you can't have it, right? Weapons retention is key. If you are carrying a gun, there is a gun in every single fight you're ever involved in, right? Because you at least have one. So I'm here and now, I make a conscious decision, like taking in the data that I have and the amount of time I have to do it in, do I present this out? So if you're the camera right there and you're really close to me, probably 3-4 feet, I'm obviously not going to be driving this gun out because you're going to grab it and we're going to be into a fight for the gun. So I want to retain it. I also don't have eyes in the back of my head. I'm trying to pay attention to my surroundings the best I can, but right now I've got a real threat down there. So I'm going to be pretty focused over here. So I want to keep this here in case bad guy number 2 or 3 that I didn't notice is there, tries to grab me, grab my gun, come from behind. I'm in a better position than being out here. And what I mean by that is, if you'll notice my elbow, when I draw this gun out, it's nice and high. So if someone starts to try to get a hold of me, I can start using my elbows to defend myself. And I know someone's gonna be, well, you point the gun. Okay, well, I'm fighting for my life. So where the muzzle may go for that split second that I use my elbows, it is what it is. So we're here, I get the gun, my fingers make contact here. Now I make a decision, yes, the threat is 20 feet away, then I'm gonna drive my gun out. And I'm gonna bring, my eyes are gonna stay threat focused on the situation, and I'm gonna bring my optic to my line of vision. I'm not gonna move my head, I'm not gonna turtle. I have a good position here, hands meet, and I drive the optic up. Okay, so we'll do this in live fire here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Again, I'm gonna show you this in both concealed and non-concealed, or outside the waistband like we have right now. Let's gas this up. Okay, get some ears on here, and I'll show you how this works. Again, I get why you want to push speed, and it's a skill set. You can certainly still do it, but at the end of the day, retaining this is super important. So although it may not be the fastest draw ever, it allows me to keep the gun with me, okay? So again, I'm in a defensive position. It really doesn't matter which way my feet are because I'm moving around, whatever the case is. My hands are up. I go to get my gun. My hands move together. I'm not going here and then waiting for this. They move together. I meet my hand right here, okay? It's my ball. You can't have it. I make the decision to drive out, take my shot, okay? So again, I'm here. I come to this L formation. I get the grip of the gun, make contact here, drive it out, take my shot. Of course, I would scan, assess, and look around the scenarios, and I'd make sure that my fingers straighten off the trigger before I stick it in my holster, and I'm gonna look it in the holster. Just things I say, because I've been doing this so long, super important. So, hands are up, L formation, and come here, I drop my elbow down, make contact, drive out, take my shot. All I need is to be able to see the color of the optic in there, not a specific circle or dot. If it's moving, I don't really care. Good enough for self-defense, and I can take a quick shot. So let's look at this from an inside the waistband perspective. We're going to apply the same concept now to a concealment setup, so inside the waistband. Clear. I normally carry at 4 o'clock, so this bracket here would be behind this loop. It would be sitting right here, but I figure it's going to be a little bit easier for you guys to be able to see. And as I said earlier, I recognize that this is an extended magazine, not something I would normally carry like this, but it's what I had available. All right. So I have my shirt covering, same concept. Now here's where the support hand is really going to come into play on this one. I have my hands up. When I go to draw this, and one, I got to clear this shirt nice and high. Like people just like, especially in classes, they just want to go a little bit and then they get all jammed up. So this comes up nice and high. I use my shooting hand specifically to clear the garment, not my support hand. And I know that's super controversial. Why would I always train so that I have to use 2 hands every time I need to get a gun out? In my experience, I have a gun out in a one-hand scenario far more than I do with 2. In real life, like in police work and whatnot, opening doors, moving things, whatever, searching stuff. It's usually going to be one hand a lot of the times when I'm doing that. If this hand is available, it's a bonus. So the reason we do this is if I take this out of the game, I do the same draw I always do. I rip my shirt up, I come down to my gun, go to my L, drop my elbow, and present if I have to. Everything works the way it's supposed to, whether I have 2 hands or not. Because I might be in this scenario where someone's grabbed my hand or I'm pushing something or holding something. So this only becomes a bonus. So as the bonus, let's say it is available, my hands come up, hey, I don't want any problems, I'm gonna come to here, I rip this up, this becomes a bonus now, it holds my shirt, I run my hand down to my gun, same concept now, I draw it out, I make my L. This is where my hand makes that same contact spot, I'm not trying to grip it yet, and I just drive the gun out, take my shot, okay? So again, from the L position, I come up, my hand's underneath here, I drive it out, take my shot. I look it into my holster, finger off the trigger. So again here, we start from this position, here, run my hand down, meet my hands, and drive the gun out. That's the deal. Then I would come back, scan and assess, however, whichever way you want to do it, doesn't really matter. Any of those options, sole, temple, index, compression, whatever, in order to look around, move our feet, see what's going on. And then of course, we're always going to look it into the holster, make sure, even when I can't see it so much when it's in back here, I still glance back just to see, is my shirt bunched up, is there stuff in there? The last thing I'm going to do is stick that in there and have a problem. Alrighty guys, I hope that was helpful. I hope you got something out of that. I can't wait to see the comments on this one. It'll sure be spicy as usual, so that's always a good time. You know where to find us here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and we put all our premium content on Patreon. And by the way, if you head over to Patreon, we are putting a couple of our videos that we just shot live from one of our defensive pistol classes. So if you're too far away, never gonna ever make it out here, but you like us, you can check out some segments of what we talk about in those types of classes, something additional that you might want to pick up. Also, if you are our top tier $25 people, every month you get that credit of $25 towards the class. So if you are local and you want to train with us, that's also a great way to get our content and also help offset the cost of class. So if you're with us for 4 months, that's $100 that you've already paid. So something to consider. Until next time, remember, it's always be judged by 12, then carried by 6.